I died in the year I loved him most. With hundreds of millions in assets. He abandoned everything without hesitation. He chose to perish in flames with me. When I opened my eyes again, I'd returned to 10 years ago. The time when we just married, when I despised him most. I rushed to his company. Seeing him for the first time in this renewed life. My voice choked. Ethan Mitchell. I'm sorry. After a momentary pause, his expression turned desolate. Go ahead. How are you going to torment me this time? During that final explosion, I remember Ethan never emerged. The man who always maintained pristine perfection knelt beside me, whispering, Emily, don't be afraid. I'm here with you. He was 38 that year. Hundreds of millions in assets. Discarded without second thought. Choosing flames as our shared grave. The midsummer evening bled crimson through the windows. Stifling air stirred the curtains as I awoke from the dream. Sitting dazed on the bed. The clock's ticking echoed from the corner. The calendar lying innocently on the desk. Madam. Mr. Mitchell called earlier. He won't be returning tonight. Madam Lewis's voice carried from the living room. Calm as always. I stared at the new wedding band on my finger. Closing my eyes. I'd truly returned to the past. The consuming fire in his steadfast embrace before death felt hauntingly real. In our final moments, Ethan had murmured, don't fear, Emily. I waited too long this lifetime. Next time, come find me sooner. Was this dream or reality? Pinching my thigh brought dull pain. Car horns outside shocked my muddled thoughts. After the initial astonishment faded, relentless heartache flooded in. A manufactured misunderstanding made me hate Ethan for years. During that time, his rivals exploited every weakness. At home, my coldness drove him away. Ethan's parents died young, leaving him no family. He guarded his empire alone through prime years. When truth finally surfaced, we shared 6 fleeting months of happiness, even conceiving a child. But death claimed me before revealing the pregnancy. Madam, the flowers are ready. Shall we depart? Madam Lewis inquired. What? My mind still reeled. The flowers for visiting Mr. Bennett? Ryan. Hearing that name froze me. The tangled threads of memory found their starting point. Today was that day. Ryan Bennett. My childhood sweetheart. A gifted actor destroyed by severe burns requiring permanent hospitalization. In my previous life, I'd brought birthday flowers to his hospital room that day. Leaving after celebrations, I'd found Ethan in his car, cigarette ash spilling unnoticed onto his lap. I hadn't bothered explaining then. Couldn't bear to look at him. Ethan noticed me, stubbed out his cigarette, and stepped out of the car with desolation in his voice. Today's my birthday. I halted, turning to glare coldly. So? His obsidian eyes held mine in silent intensity. Today's also Ryan's birthday. I spat. You destroyed his face. Ruined his career to marry me. How do you expect me to treat you? Ethan's lips parted helplessly. That was an accident. If you hadn't invited him that day, he wouldn't still be hospitalized. How could that be accidental? The silence stretched before he finally murmured, I'm sorry. From that day, our relationship plummeted into glacial hostility. Madam bustled over. Your things are in the car. We must leave before traffic worsens. Dusk painted the windows in molten copper. I fumbled with my coat. Sudden realization tightening my throat, this was 10 years earlier. Redemption still lingered within reach. As the car merged into sluggish traffic, the driver suggested, the hospital route's congested. Should I call Ryan to wait? Change of plans. I watched traffic lights bleed crimson across the windshield. Take me to the corporate district. The skyscrapers loomed like judgmental sentinels, clutching oversized peonies with tear-smudged eyeliner. I resembled some deranged romantic protagonist. Passers-by stared as I dialed with trembling fingers. The contact still showed his full name, Ethan Mitchell. Not even listed as emergency contact. The call connected on the second ring. Yes? His voice crystallized the autumn air. Ethan. My words fractured. I can't find your office. Pedestrians gawked at the well-dressed woman sobbing on the curb. I heard his chair scrape. Meeting adjourned. Then softer. Stay on the sidewalk. I'm coming down. Minutes later. He emerged, a streak of midnight suit against neon billboards. Immaculate against my tear-streaked dishevelment. The contrast stung, him perpetually poised like some untouchable alpine bloom. Me mirroring a horror movie specter. You came. His tone frosted the space between us. When I turned, his polished composure faltered at my smeared mascara. I'm sorry for disturbing you. Today, he didn't need to finish. We both knew what day it was. Today I should have spent Ryan's birthday with him. Not here. That realization struck me hard. Shoving the bouquet into Ethan's arms. I mumbled a vague happy birthday. The silence stretched endlessly. Sneaking a glance, I noticed him staring at the flowers without joy. After what felt like ages, he offered a bitter smile. Emily. These were his discards. Weren't they? My breath hitched. Following his gaze to the bouquet, my stomach dropped. Frosted blue roses. Their meaning screamed through my mind, I give you the stars and sea. Ryan's greatest passion had always been celestial bodies and ocean depths. In my post-awakening confusion, I'd rushed to find Ethan while overlooking crucial details. I'm sorry. Thank you for the gift. Ethan's voice turned glacial. It's late. My driver will take you home. He pivoted sharply. I grabbed his suit jacket before thinking. The sudden resistance made me stumble forward, crashing into his back and smearing makeup across his custom-tailored suit. Ethan turned slowly, his gaze burning into my clutching fingers. Emily. His voice cracked with exhaustion. What fresh torment is this? The question hung between us. Memories surfaced of our newlywed days, me at 23. He at 28. Constantly provoking arguments with cruel words. Even holiday gifts became weapons to wound. Like the boy who cried wolf. I'd destroyed all trust. Last life's reconciliation had been simpler, tackle him onto the nearest flat surface. Beneath his frosty exterior hid surprisingly easy comfort. But that approach wouldn't work now. Not after years of inflicted pain. I'll treat you to dinner. I blurted. No need. He resumed walking. Work demands my attention. Then take out. I dogged his footsteps. Longevity noodles for your birthday. He maintained stony silence, yet kept crushing the bouquet instead of discarding it. His office revealed the truth, an untouched cold meal box on the desk. My heart clenched. Ordering clear broth noodles with tomato brisket through my phone. I avoided all his dietary restrictions. For years, Ethan had endured my preference for spicy, oily foods despite his delicate stomach. The food arrived silently. We sat in heavy quiet. The floral stems still clutched in his whitened knuckles. Every apology died on my tongue, inadequate recompense for lifetimes of willful cruelty. When Ethan was unwrapping the flower packaging, preparing to place them in a vase, the frost blue roses stabbed my eyes. I strode over without thinking, snatched them away, and threw them into the trash. He froze, staring at the bead of blood on his thumb, sighing wearily. Emily, haven't you caused enough trouble? Not nearly. I swallowed the lump in my throat, frustrated by his clay figurine-like passiveness. Never mind. If you don't like these, I'll get you different flowers. Ethan pressed tissue paper against his wound, lashes casting shadows over downcast eyes that radiated self-reproach. It doesn't matter anyway. Ignoring him, I grabbed the trash bag and threw it over my shoulder. Wait here. Before rushing out, Summer dusk lined the sidewalks with flower vendors, though inferior to florist shop arrangements costing hundreds. I bought out every stall's red roses, bundling them clumsily with cheap wrapping paper. When my food delivery arrived, I hauled everything upstairs. The 19th floor felt colder than earlier. Most overtime workers had left, leaving only Ethan's office illuminated by desk lamp. I pushed the door open quietly. He stood silhouetted against floor-to-ceiling windows, lonely as an abandoned stray. The thud of roses in takeout bags hitting the floor made his shoulders tense. When he turned, shock flashed across his face at seeing me nearly buried under my haul. "Hey! Help already!" I panted. He moved like someone witnessing miracles, swiftly relieving me of the load while steering me to the sofa with an arm under my elbows. Catching my breath, I grinned through sweat-damp bangs. "These are for you." Every last rose from the streets. Ethan's striking features went blank. Damn. He couldn't process kindness. Did I need to scold him instead? Seeing him reach for cold leftovers, I groaned dramatically. His eyes snapped to me, tension resurfacing, slouching against cushions. I ordered with practiced irritation. "Eat something hot. Your sad meal prep's killing my vibe." For 30 minutes, my complaints filled the room. "Can't you see that beef slice? Eat your greens. Are you 5? Slurp the damn noodles I didn't buy art supplies." Through relentless nagging, the steaming bowl emptied. I'd even forced 2 mini buns and my osmanthus cake on him. "If I have to mother you daily, I'll die young," I rasped, throat raw. A water glass appeared. Ethan watched me, faint amusement softening his marble features. "Hydrate before round 2. Though shadows still haunted his gaze, the glacial wariness had thawed. I resisted hugging him. "Ethan, let's make this work." He looked away, silently clearing dishes. "I'll call your driver." But I just got here. The door clicked shut behind his retreating back. Even trash disposal became CEO business tonight. Pretending not to be disappointed would be a lie. After being reborn, why does this man seem even harder to handle? I sat on the couch, strategizing my next move. Should I make a direct advance, or pour out my heart first before making a move? The sudden ringtone shattered my thoughts. I answered absently. The voice on the other end felt both distant and familiar. "Emily, where are you?" My previously buoyant mood plummeted as I remembered this person's existence. "Oh, it's you," I replied without enthusiasm. Ryan's gentle voice said, "I've been waiting for you. Didn't we agree to celebrate my birthday together?" Memories of our past life flooded back, my fingers whitening around the phone. "Ryan, we're childhood friends, right?" He detected my coldness. "Emily, we're family. Family." I repeated the word before suddenly demanding, "Don't you have anything to tell me?" He paused. "I'm sorry for sneaking cake earlier." This proved it, those being cared for could lie and make demands freely, while Ethan always endured everything silently behind me. My entire body turned cold. Something came up. "Happy birthday." Hanging up, I took shaky breaths. That call Ryan made before the kidnapping. What if the explosion had been an inside job from the beginning? Looking up, I found Ethan standing in the doorway, his profile shadowed. "You heard everything?" "Yes." His voice held tightly leashed calm. "The car's ready." I struggled to explain future events without sounding insane. Following him outside, guilt churned in my stomach. "Ethan." He slowed slightly but didn't turn. That was Ryan. I did promise him yesterday, but today's different. Ethan whirled around, eyes glacial. "Enough." After composing himself, he said, "The meal was wonderful. I'm grateful you spent my birthday with me." I stared at the pain buried deep in his eyes. His pale lips formed each word like physical agony. If you're leaving for Ryan now, I accept. This is the price. In our past life, Ethan had warned me every kindness I showed him would demand greater suffering. He never dared hope, always prepared for my departure. Those words now stabbed through me. On this day in our previous life, his birthday dinner had been a cold takeout box. No one wished him happiness. That's why he waited outside the hospital, wasn't it? When all he wanted was my happy birthday. I'd told him to stay away from me. The belated truth crushed my lungs. I'm sorry, he began. I grabbed Ethan's hand fiercely, interlocking our fingers. The hospital could wait. Tonight belonged to the man who'd quietly loved me through 2 lifetimes. He froze but didn't pull away, asking hoarsely, Emily, what are you trying to do? Do you think I'm not humiliated enough? I looked up and suddenly yanked his tie, pulling him down. Don't move. Husband. Those 4 words cast a spell, completely immobilizing him. Rising on tiptoes, I captured Ethan's cold lips. The elegant pine scent shattered as I recklessly plundered, wrapping my arms around his neck. I pushed him against the wall, gently soothing. His body shifted from rigid shock to defeated surrender, eyes closing as he allowed my onslaught. His pristine shirt became crumpled linen. Without realizing, his hand slid from my waist to my back, crushing us together until no air remained between us. The overhead lights flickered and died. In darkness, we broke apart forehead to forehead, breathing ragged. Emily. Ethan's voice scraped raw. You don't like it? That's not it. After prolonged silence, he ground out. Stop tempting me while I still have control. Go to him. Would you really let me? I breathed against his ear, whimpering pitifully. No jealousy? No anger? You'd allow me to kiss someone else, Ethan snapped, crushing his mouth to mine. He lifted and threw me onto the couch. Before I could react, his palm cradled my skull as he kissed me with retributive fury. I smiled against his lips. Drastic measures were needed to break his self-restraint. Things escalated beyond expectations. Ethan! I tensed. What are you? I meant we should wait until home. His warm baritone vibrated through me. I gave you chances to leave. Now they're gone. Suddenly flipped onto my stomach against the couch back. His breath ghosted over my ear. Lethally sensual. You're dead. Emily. I'd assumed Ethan's propriety would limit him. Forgotten that in our past life, he'd been the madman who chose death over separation. Savagery lurked beneath that cultured veneer. My weak protests dissolved into kisses. Clutching his neck, I pleaded. Ethan, have mercy. Anger made him relentless. Biting my lip, I clung tighter. Tears plopped onto his shoulder. Ethan froze. Forgive me. Resting my chin there, I gazed at the moonlit window. Ethan. I'd already chosen our children's names. In our past life. Never told you. Emily. Don't. His whisper broke. Don't believe me? Silence answered. He dared not hope for such miracles. 1 boy. 1 girl. You could pick their nicknames. My words reignited the inferno. Sweeping me up, Ethan carried my dazed self through a discreet office door. The lock clicked. Wind whispered beyond floor to ceiling windows. Moonlight gilded the threshold where murmurs and gasps swirled till midnight. When my stubbornness resurfaced, I kicked at him. I don't want you anymore. Wordlessly dragging me back, Ethan demanded. If not me, then who? Deadly seriousness underscored the question. My face burned crimson. I don't want you anyway. Humph. Ethan kept his head lowered. Your words don't count. That night's dreams held both Ethan's persistent entanglement and skies filled with raging flames. I lay in a pool of blood. Explosives strapped to my body. Ethan charged through the inferno. lifting me with his entire body trembling. Seeing his tears, I could only weakly raise my hand to push at him. Get lost. Ethan. I'm telling you to get lost. Don't touch me. Please. The dream shattered with the sound of sobbing. The warmth vanished instantly, plunging back into darkness. My eyes flew open to find my cheeks damp. A nightmare. Coming to my senses, I realized Ethan had been pushed to the bed's edge. Judging by his expression, I'd been talking in my sleep. He handed me tissues but remained seated at a distance, fingertips avoiding contact. My heart sank. He still misunderstood. Ethan. My voice cracked. I was having a nightmare. He listened with absolute seriousness. There was fire, explosives on me, you wanted to die with me. That's why I shouted those words. Don't misunderstand. His eyes briefly brightened before dimming into bleakness. All right. I believe you. After tucking me in, he picked up his pillow and turned to leave. Ethan. I called to his retreating back. You're lying. When he didn't respond, I hurled my pillow at him. Fine. Go then. My whole body aches. You heartless bastard. Just leave me here to rot. I curled into a shrimp position under the covers, refusing to look. No wonder people say youth makes you stubborn. 28-year-old Ethan's rigid logic made him utterly unlikable. After a prolonged silence, the mattress dipped behind me. Ethan sighed. Sleep. I need to be held. Obediently, he gathered me into his arms. The night stretched endlessly, but I stared into the formless darkness, wide awake. Since rebirth, too many fragmented truths swirled in my mind. The kidnapper, a bankrupt CEO who'd crossed paths with Ethan. The accident that befell Ryan had actually been my uncle's scheme to drive Ethan and me apart. These were truths I'd uncovered during my final year before death. Ethan had always meticulously protected my whereabouts. Yet I'd been ambushed en route to a prenatal checkup. How had they known? Only one possibility remained, that phone call from Ryan. Even in death's throes, Ethan had whispered, "Thank Ryan. Without him, I'd never have found you." Blinded while immersed, I now saw clearly. What role had Ryan, my most trusted childhood companion of over a decade, truly played? Sleep deprivation left my skull pounding next morning. Ethan! I can't get up. You're impossible. After enduring several kicks, he sighed. Breakfast. No. Your principles are excessive. I glared. I hate younger you. He paused before asking mildly. Younger me? Right. I fiercely yanked the blanket from his grasp and wrapped myself up. I prefer men 10 years older. Go age somewhere else and let me sleep. I wiggled to the warmest spot, stretching luxuriously. The sheets still carried Ethan's scent. My late morning nap lasted until afternoon. True to his foresight, lunch sat neatly arranged on the table. The immaculate office contrasted sharply with our chaotic nest. The bedspread shredded from last night's antics now lay tangled around Ethan's ankles. Honestly, 28-year-old Ethan couldn't hold a candle to his future 38-year-old self in terms of experience. Blushing, I shook those memories away. After freshening up and stealing one of Ethan's dress shirts, I peeked into his office. Sunset gilded his tailored suit as he conducted video conferences, softening his usual aloofness. My breath caught. His gaze snapped to me the moment the door creaked. The shirt-draped version of me made him falter mid-sentence. We'll reconvene tomorrow, he abruptly told his screen. Leaning back in his leather chair, he frowned. Emily. Oh ho! Last night it was Emmy. Today it's Emily? I perched on his desk, swinging bare legs within his peripheral vision. Did my phone ring last night? Ethan? Not that I recall. His controlled tone didn't match the pulse jumping in his neck. I tugged his tie until our lips nearly met. Working hours. Emily. He warned. though his uneven breathing betrayed him. I brushed my mouth against his. More? Yes. After another kiss. I whispered. I'll wait in the lounge. Take me home tonight. Ryan's call came as I sorted through 5 missed attempts. Emmy. I left the hospital. His congested voice pleaded. What's the point of facial reconstruction if you're gone? Let's just be together. We're done. Ryan. I'm married. Is this because of my scars? He demanded. You promised forever. I hesitated, wanting to speak but holding back. It was you who said we had to break up for the company to promote you. For your career to soar. But you promised to wait for me. How long must I wait now? I sighed. You had countless chances. Yet kept me waiting endlessly. My uncle would stop at nothing to achieve his goals. Since my birth, my parents abandoned me at the Carter family estate, moving overseas to start new families. I'm just a pawn to the Carters. While Ryan basked in cinematic glory, my uncle had already cornered me. That night, I called him repeatedly until he silenced his phone. The next day, watching his first on-screen kiss, I numbly accepted my uncle's proposal. Are you falling for him? Ryan asked over the phone later. Without hesitation, I answered. I love him. Days passed without messages from Ryan. I realized catching my killer from the past life required Ethan's resources. First step, make him believe I'm reborn. Before he institutionalizes me. So this heiress returns from death to investigate her family's massacre. The information gap works in her favor. Don't you wonder how she turns the tables? Elbow propped on Ethan's desk. I animatedly narrated my 3rd reincarnation novel this month. Ethan listened intently. If you like it, I'll fund a TV adaptation. It's not about me. Do you like it? His eyes dropped to my wrinkled borrowed shirt. I like what you like. I thrust a fist mic toward him. Impressions. Please. Ethan's lips twitched. Lately, we'd grown closer. He indulged my every whim. Yet something intangible lingered between us. Ethan. I dragged my chair forward solemnly. It's time you knew. He set down chopsticks. Attentive. I'm reborn too. Silence. Prolonged silence. His eyebrow arched. Lips pressed tight, suppressing laughter. Aha. You don't believe me. I jabbed a finger. Go on. Emily. His mouth curved before flattening. I believe you. I spilled everything, past life events. The knife-wielding former employee surnamed Fong. My uncle's involvement. Warnings about Ryan. A shrill ringtone interrupted. We both saw the caller ID, Ryan. I'd forgotten to update the contact name. Ethan's expression frosted over. I'll do the dishes. He stood abruptly with his plate. There it was again, that deliberate evasion. He was still afraid. I gritted my teeth, grabbed my phone, and followed him to the kitchen. He stood with his back to the doorway, turning on the faucet. I hit the speakerphone button. Ryan's familiar voice crackled through. Emily. This might be my last call to you. The howling wind nearly drowned his words. My throat tightened. Where are you? On the rooftop of our high school building. His voice sounded feather light. Remember the day my parents abandoned me? You said since the Carters never truly accepted you either, we could be each other's family. When I tried to jump from this roof at 18, you stopped me. A hollow laugh escaped him. Now that you've discarded me too, what's the point? Ryan. Don't. My vision swam as I snatched a jacket. I'm coming right now. Hanging up. I whirled to find Ethan still facing the sink. Water rushing over motionless hands. Are you brain dead? I yanked his arm. Change clothes. Now. He stumbled, dark eyes burning into mine. Wouldn't it be inappropriate for me to go alone, since you're married? 10 seconds. I jabbed my phone screen. Take off that apron or I'm calling 911. Students could witness this. Done. Ethan stood impeccably dressed by the door. I blinked at his speed. The police intercepted us at campus. Warning against contacting Ryan again. Keep him talking, an officer urged, shoving me toward the roof access. Ethan waited beyond the barricades, nodding reassurance. Summer heat clung to the wind-whipped rooftop. Ryan perched on the ledge, ruined profile turning toward my gasp. You came. My chest ached. In my previous life, after Ethan and I reconciled, Ryan had refused our visits. How does one abandon decades of hatred overnight? Then when Ethan's business empire crumbled, I'd become a prisoner in my own home. Please come down, I pleaded. His gaze drifted to Ethan's silhouette below. You were right. I got greedy. His scarred fingers whitened on concrete. You warned me before the wedding, family only. Should've listened. Memories ambushed me, Ryan shielding me from bullies' fists. Sprinting through midnight storms when my uncle locked me out. My conviction wavered. Could this shattered man truly have orchestrated my death? Ryan smiled. You promised to spend every birthday with me. Sing happy birthday. And I'll come down. Okay. I'll sing. The wind gradually stilled as the birthday song drifted through the night sky on the rooftop. Yet while singing, it struck me, I never sang it for Ethan that day. I'd make it up to him later. When the song ended, Ryan stood facing me on the rooftop. Thank you. It's been years since I last heard you sing. Still beautiful. His voice turned faint. Let me ask you one more thing. Go ahead. Do you still love me? I stayed silent for a long moment. Your family. From the second you stepped onto that stage, you've always been. Ryan's dark gaze swept across the crowd, locking onto Ethan. The rooftop wind bit into me. Let's go back. I pleaded. He looked at me, smiling softly. Emily. I love you. Then he spread his arms and fell backward into the endless night. Time froze. My blood turned to ice. I lunged for the edge, Ryan, but grasped only air. The ground yawned like a monstrous mouth, swallowing him whole. I stared blankly at the void. A dull thud echoed. My legs gave out. Was Ryan dead? Had I misjudged him? People sense things. He'd noticed my distance over the years. Had my coldness driven him to this? Shaking violently, I sat numb until warmth enveloped me. Ethan's familiar scent anchored me as I clutched his sleeve. I killed him, I'm here. You're safe. He held me tighter. I didn't know. I didn't. Sobs racked my body. I'm sorry, he's alive. Ethan smoothed my hair, lips brushing my ear. Police set up an airbed. They caught him. Tears soaked his shirt as I wept uncontrollably. Guilt could crush mountains when you believe you've ended a life. Just scrapes. Ethan's voice strained. They took him to the hospital. If you want to. No. My throat burned. Stay with you. Always. Back in his car, I watched police units withdraw through the window. Soon they'd escort us to the hospital. Ryan had no family left. Exhausted, I leaned against Ethan. Before this, I never told you my last suspicion. That Ryan might be involved too. Ethan drew a sharp breath. Emily, what if he isn't? If he's innocent? His question hung like shattered glass. Would you choose him? Or me? Only then did relief flood through me. For years, Ethan had assumed himself the unchosen one. But the Emily of this decade, every version of me, would always choose Ethan. I looked up, studying Ethan's face intently. Do you remember when Ryan first debuted? He nodded. We hadn't met yet. By then, I'd already broken up with Ryan. If I had to define my feelings for him, I twisted my fingers, searching for words. We survived those chaotic teenage years together. struggled through entering this brutal society. Compared to all that, romance was barely a fraction of it. Counting on my fingers, I explained to Ethan. His debut, acting career, rising fame. By the time we got married, Ryan and I should have been broken up for over a year already. I'll admit, I hated you at first. The night breeze carried my confession. Just like how I hated my uncle, someone barging into my life uninvited. Then Ryan got into that car accident on his way to meet investors. With your driver behind the wheel. I lumped you together with my scheming uncle. Grabbing Ethan's sleeve, I hurried to clarify. It wasn't about liking Ryan. I just can't stand people who destroy others' futures over minor disagreements. Ethan gently intertwined his fingers with mine. I'm sorry. That was my oversight. No. I hugged his arm fiercely. I told you. It was my uncle's doing. You did nothing wrong. If anyone dares blame you, I'll fight them myself. His thumbs stilled against my knuckles. After a long pause came a hoarse whisper, thank you. For what? First time someone's taken my side, so fiercely. Guilt washed over me anew. The Mitchell family's affairs were rarely discussed in our circles. Ethan truly had no one protecting him all these years. He turned to face me fully, moonlight catching the vulnerability in his eyes. Could you tell me, when did you start? His throat worked silently before trying again. When did you begin liking me? The darkness hid my blush but not the truth. That night you came home drunk. You tripped over the scarf I was knitting for the dog, then sat cross-legged on the floor at 2 a.m. trying to fix it. When I told you to come to bed, you mumbled the puppy will get cold without this. My smile softened at the memory. I thought, someone who worries about a dog's comfort couldn't be truly heartless. There was more I didn't share, how I'd heard Ethan murmur Emily. I'm cold too in his sleep when I went for water later. How that lonely confession made my heart ache for this man who seemed to have everything yet nothing. Ethan listened raptly. We get a dog? 7 years from now. For my birthday. You said. My voice caught unexpectedly. You said since you worked too much to be home, it should keep me company. I counted imaginary timelines on my fingers. By now, our smart little buddy's probably an old dog somewhere. Maybe not even. My words died abruptly. Ethan frowned. What's wrong? Cold realization gripped me. Ryan, he's like me. Like you how? On the rooftop. My nails dug into his palm. When Ryan jumped, he said he hadn't heard me sing happy birthday in years. But last year our eyes locked. Identical suspicions forming. Hospital. Now. 30 minutes later. The doctor informed us someone had already checked Ryan out. Further inquiries met stonewalled patient confidentiality. The car hummed with tension as we drove back. Do you think? I broke the silence first. He jumped on purpose? Ethan's fingers drummed the leather steering wheel cover. The rhythmic taps matched my racing heartbeat as he finally spoke. Generally, in places with low-rise buildings, police would set up inflatable cushions. If it were me, I'd be 100% certain I could jump without dying. I stared thoughtfully at his profile. What do you think his motive was? He snorted softly. Trying to win your sympathy so you'd side with him. This was truly the first time Ethan had ever spoken to me with such bitterness in both lifetimes. I pressed my lips together and nodded solemnly. Right. You seem to understand this well. He replied stiffly. Men understand men best. I didn't argue, gazing instead at the blurring scenery outside the window. If I warned Ethan about whom to guard against 10 years early, maybe things wouldn't spiral out of control. Memories of him charging into the flames to hold me in our past life made my heart ache again. How could anyone remain unmoved? Kindness never goes unnoticed. We arrived home late after hours on the road. Madam had gone home. The living room stayed dark as Ethan reached for the light switch. I suddenly pounced. shoving him onto the sofa. His long legs splayed on either side, bearing my weight. Ethan's clothes were disheveled as he rasped. "What are you doing, Ethan?" I whispered near his ear. "I love you." His breathing fractured. His throat bobbed as he gripped my waist to steady me. "Get down." The command sounded ragged. I blinked in surprise. "Wait. You're actually..." "Don't." He covered my eyes. Voice icy. "And don't look." Darkness fell as my lashes brushed his palm. Who knew I love you could unravel him so completely? Grinning, I chanted, "I love you. I love you." Teasing words like feathers tickling his heart, sparking wildfires. My palm against his chest felt his heartbeat quicken, softening my tone. I murmured, "Ethan, I love you." His lips silenced mine, uncharacteristically fierce. He cornered me, demanding surrender to his devotion. His hands traced my jawline, neck, cradling me like priceless porcelain. "You never listen." He sighed. "Aren't you hungry?" "Starving." I clung like a koala, fingers slipping under his shirt. "Let's eat." When he remained unmoved, I blurted, "Hey, have you thought of baby names yet?" Ethan's gaze darkened. Bypassing the dining table, he carried me straight toward the bedroom. The aroma of roasted chicken legs caught my attention. Peering at the table, I brightened. "Wait!" Madam left me drumsticks. Too late. Ethan refused ruthlessly for the first time. "You had your chance. My rules now."